Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special Hemingway Jones pen show. Saturday afternoon, my time, and in the evening for Europe time. And I'm happy to be on a different time zone to get more people involved. And of course, maybe you're watching the playback as well. So if you've been watching the channel for a while, I'd invite you to subscribe. Follow along on this journey with us as we discover fountain pens and talk about the passion, the heritage, history, and the inspiration of these wonderful writing tools. So I'd love to have you follow along with us. Also, membership is available as well. So feel free to join the channel. I'd love to have you here. So I have a very, very special guest with me today. And I actually met him before. I met him at the Commonwealth Pen Show, which was really lovely. That takes place every September. You might know him from the Appelboom Pennin YouTube channel right here, or the Appelboom Bites podcast, which is available on YouTube, on Spotify, and Apple, and just about anywhere you can get a podcast. But he's definitely one of the nicest fellows in the pen community. So let's give a very warm welcome to Joost Appelboom.
Hello, Tim.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Very nice to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. How's my audio? Is it okay?
You sound brilliant. You sound perfect.
Yes?
I knew you
Okay,
would
excellent.
because
Yeah.
you're an old pro at
Because we
this stuff.
we were not able to test this, so it's quite
It's
an adventure.
Well, see, it's kind of the fun of this, and it's really one of the things I was curious about with your show. It looks like you tape live, but then you edit and you add B-roll and whatnot, and then you put it up.
Yes, that's correct. So what we always do, sorry, what we always do, so we record the show a few days before we actually put it live, and then our media team is able to add some B footage if somebody says some things that he or she prefer not to tell at that moment yet. It can
Right,
always be cut out, and it gives us a little bit of more certainty. And besides that, we also have to make thumbnails and things like that. So it gives us some extra time, but it's always fun to do. And we record it live, so it's not a lot of cutting, as you might have noticed, but it's mainly because of the B footage that I want to put in. So if we're talking about a specific fountain pen, that we can show it actually on screen, because of course it's fun to
that is
look at
nice.
talking faces,
That is
but
an
it's even
advantage.
better to look at the actual pen that you're talking about.
Truly, and I have this program can do that if I
Hmm.
pre-record it. I can also do a
Okay.
second camera down, so
Yeah.
I could sort of put that up there as well. But I just
Hmm.
haven't learned how to use that yet because unlike you, I am the media team, I am the producer. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, no problem.
and I just haven't learned it yet. So I think the show's
Hmm.
only going to get better as we go along. But there's certainly a lot of skills you pick up as you go into this YouTube hobby.
Well, honestly, this is not really my skill, so it's
Sure.
more of the media team.
Right.
But
So you're just the
it
talent.
is it is a really an adventure. It's just an adventure. I'm
You're,
just sitting here
you're the
and
talent.
asking the questions,
Yeah.
and I'm the host, so it's
Right.
really fun to sit on the other side this time.
Well, it is nice, but I would invite you, feel free to ask questions too. I want it to be interactive. I'm going to bring in, if I see anything in the comments, I always keep an eye there as well. Chris Signs,
Hmm.
for instance, she says hello. She also has
Hello,
a
Chris.
wonderful channel here on YouTube. So it's always
I
nice to see
know, I
Chris.
know. Chris is amazing.
Yeah, she's lovely. Absolutely. So I thought it might be fun. I know your channel does pen checks. I did pen checks on my
Yeah.
channel, but I found that I was waiting too long before I got to my content. On a live show, you can do it. So
Hmm.
what are you carrying today, my friend?
Well, what I'm carrying today is just my regular pen that I always carry with me. It's a 149 Mont Blanc.
Oh, well, that's one of my
It's
favorites.
not it's not amazing. It's just a regular piece.
Sure.
The only thing that's amazing about it is, of course, the nib, because it has, I don't know if the camera picks it up,
Yeah, yeah,
But
do
so
that.
I'm going full Stephen Brown now. So
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
what Stephen always does, right?
Oh, yeah. What you got
So
going on there? Is it a
yeah,
stub?
you. I cannot show it. This camera is not that good. It's an oblique triple broad nib.
Wow.
So I only use it for note takings here in the store and for quick things because it's not really something for long riding sessions, but it's fun to use.
Oh, nice.
And it has the Irish green of Mont Blanc in it. So
Oh,
yeah, you
very
can
nice.
see it
Oh,
below.
yeah, there you go. That's the badge of honor. Don't have any ink on your hands. So
It's
must look
okay.
great with your signature, I imagine.
Sorry.
That pen, when you sign your name, must look brilliant with that oblique triple broad.
Yeah, that's amazing. It always gives a feeling that you're actually putting something on paper. So that's always a lot of fun.
Nice, nice, very nice. Well, I often carry the 149 myself. Mine only has a medium nib,
Mhm.
which is rather, pedestrian.
That's boring. That's
Yeah, yeah,
boring.
it really is. It is, but I like it. Now I'm trying to think which ink I have in mind right now. Is that J or Bond, Clay de Saphir? But the pen I've been
Nice.
carrying lately is this Esterbrook, which I insist on calling a junior. I don't care if it's JR, J, repeat, what is it? Reloaded or whatever it is. To me it's a junior because it's small. It's sort of
Hmm.
like, no one called the green Submariner the Hulk, right? It's not in the Rolex literature. It's all of us. So I'm
I
just
know.
giving it a moniker. And but I love this
Is
pen. Love the pumpkin.
is the pumpkin, right? Did you know the story behind this pen?
Not specifically, no.
Okay, so the story was told by Carrie on
Sure.
one of our podcasts, and so they were busy with this whole project. It was just in concept, and there is one pen that Carrie has. I think it's the pen check of Carrie on the podcast that we had with him a few days before Fountain Pen Day. Um, but there is one pen that has more orange in it, and I think the grip section was orange or something
Oh,
like that. And actually, he really wanted to be like, that's have to be the pumpkin man. But at the end, they did a vote in the boardroom of
okay.
Esterbrook, and eventually he lost, but he still got that pen.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah.
Well, they did a beautiful job with it. I was saying they probably missed a branding opportunity with Starbucks, with their pumpkin
Yeah,
lattes and the
I
awn's.
know, I know. Yeah, that would be a great collaboration.
Indeed. But it's such an
Yeah.
elegant pen. It's so light. I think I'm trending more towards thinner, lighter pens these days.
What nib do you have on it?
It's a medium.
Estabrook is one of the brands with so many specialty nibs, and
Exactly.
you take the medium.
Well, I actually didn't choose it. Brian Holzer sent it to me, which was very
Ah,
kind of
okay,
him. And
that's true.
he didn't say like, "Hey Tim, I'm going to send you a pen. Which nib do you want?" He just sent it, and I was more than
Okay.
happy to have it. Very
N-
lovely
n-
of him.
Next time when he says I'm going to send you something, ask for that specialty nibs because those specialty nibs those are amazing.
Yeah, truly, truly. So I also thought it would be fun. I have a suspicion about you that you're also a watch guy.
No, not really.
Really?
No, no, really, really not at all. Actually.
Oh, no kidding. Because I noticed that you have a couple watches. Like you're wearing a dress watch today. I think you have a gold watch on and often too. Oh,
I
very.
have two watches.
Oh, no kidding.
This one, yes, this one. So this watch is a Mont Blanc watch.
Okay,
I
very nice.
uh, I, I
Keep it
got it
in the
when I
brand.
was yes, no, I got it when I was 18 years old. So it was
Nice.
like a special gift from my parents. And yeah, of course, because it's Mont Blanc, I always had it when I went to events.
Nice.
But at a certain moment. I was with a friend of mine in a store that is a friend of him, so it was like a friend of a friend.
Sure.
It's quite a famous store in Amsterdam. It's called Amsterdam Vintage Watches, and there they had a Rolex, a gold Rolex with a wooden dial. And the story behind it, it was so fascinating. It was the year of my birth, so it was a lot of
Oh,
things that connected to me, and I was like, okay, I have to have this watch, and he set it apart for me, and then a few weeks later I picked it up, and that's it. So I only have two watches.
that's good. What's the other one?
Sorry.
What is the other one?
It's a Rolex. It's a gold Rolex. It's a day date.
Oh, it's a day date. Okay, classic. Yeah,
Yes.
very good.
Yes.
We have two very nice watches, so you don't need to have a lot of watches. We were actually having this conversation last Tuesday about
Hmm.
what constitutes a large pen collection. And
Hmm.
in our world, it's probably in the hundreds. Somebody has a large collection because, but I think if you were to judge by the man on the street, so to speak, it would probably be about 10. I mean, having 10 pens is quite a lot from someone who might be just grabbing the whatever ballpoints available to them at any given time.
Yeah, I think for some people, even one fountain pen is already one too many. Some
Yeah, yeah,
people,
indeed.
yeah, it's a lot for people. If you tell that if I tell to my friends, or not my friends, but if I tell to strangers like, hey, I'm in a fountain pen business, and they're like, fountain pens? Are people still writing with that?
Mm.
And then I have to explain that we have this whole community worldwide, and that I ship fountain pens all over the world. Actually, today we got an order in. I didn't even know about the country, so I'm going to look it up now. That country,
Yeah,
and I'm
sure.
going to ask you where it is.
Okay. Oh, great.
That's fun, right?
Yeah, you never
Okay,
quiz an American about geography.
okay, no, that's a lot of fun.
We're known around the world for not knowing any country.
Okay,
Go ahead.
most likely I will not pronounce it correctly,
Okay.
but do you know the country Guadeloupe?
Guadeloupe. I don't. I don't. I
I'm s-
actually thought
I'm
it was
so
like
disappointed.
a province of Mexico. So I'm really off. Where is that?
No, so it is a French overseas department, and
Uh,
it is Puerto Rico. There are a few small islands over there
yeah, it's
between
been
Trinidad and Tobago, and one of those islands is called Guadeloupe.
oh,
So we got an order in today from Guadeloupe. I've never
excellent.
heard of that country before, but we ship to there.
Oh, very nice. So it's in the Caribbean. Well
Yeah.
done. Well, that's
Yes.
super fun. And I'd be very surprised if some of my viewers don't know who you are, but maybe it's kind of nice to give a little bit of background. I mean, you're based in the Netherlands, but you also have a location here in Boston, which isn't too far from where I'm sitting right now because I'm a Massachusetts guy.
Hmm.
So maybe if
No,
you
that's
could give
correct.
a quick background, the bullet
Yeah,
point
sure, of course.
version. Sure.
No problem. So the story of Appelboom is that my father, he started a bookstore in 1991, or no, sorry, no, 1990, in actually this exact location that I'm sitting here right now. So he bought a
Oh,
bookstore and he started over there, and the store was growing and growing, and he moved the store 10 block, no, not 10 blocks, but 10 stores further, so it's in the same street, but it was a bigger space. And because he had that bigger space, he finally found the opportunity to show his hobby for writing instruments in the store. So there was this little corner. It was called more or less like the Peter Pen corner, because
oh,
my
okay.
father was called Peter, and
Right.
the pen, so Peter Pen's corner. So there were the pens, and eventually he passed away in 2010, and I took over the store a few years later, and
His
I
legacy.
didn't read. Yes, I didn't read any books at all. So for me, it was like, okay, the books, I was at that time, I was 20 years old. And at
Okay.
that time, I was like, I don't read any books. The books, you can buy easily online. It's not interesting for us to be in that business.
Sure.
So I kicked all the books out and focused really on the writing instruments, created a website and everything. And we moved back to this actually, the original location.
Oh, wow.
And from there, we start selling online. And our community in the United States was growing and growing, and we had all those customers in the United States that wanted to call me in the middle of the night and things like that. And I was like, okay, we have to find a solution for that, because I don't care, but my family, they don't really appreciate it if I'm sitting on a bench in the evening and I have phone calls all the time. So I was looking for a location in the United States at the beginning of COVID, actually, and I was talking with Ryan from Kenro Industries, and I
Yeah.
asked him like, okay, Ryan, do you maybe know a location that's interesting in selling, or that I can take over, because starting a whole new concept in a different country, that's quite something. So I thought it would might have been better to buy another location and
Yeah. Great way to
rebrand it.
do it. Turnkey. Why not?
Yeah, yeah. And Ryan told me, yeah, there's this guy in Boston. His name is Fred, and he wants to retire. So I gave him a call. It was December. I remember that call. I was in the car, and I think he thought it was like some kind of joke. Like,
Wow. No kidding.
why is some guy in the Netherlands calling me that he wants to buy my store?
Yeah.
Because it's quite strange. So he called me back the other day, and he explained to me that he wanted to retire in January. And
Oh, wow.
if I didn't make that call, he
Yeah.
would sell out all the stuff, and the store was closed
Yeah. He would
forever.
have just done a
So
blowout sale. So your timing was perfect.
yes, yes. So it was
And
the
of course,
best
we're talking
timing,
about
and
Bromfield pens. For those, it was the old
yes.
Boston. It was kind of actually many of my pens when they were damaged end up at Bromfield, and you used to be able to watch them. Was that Fred in the window actually
Hmm.
fixing the pens? And many of the business community would come down from the Common. It's only a few steps from the Park Street T stop. So many of us
Yes.
on our commutes would pass by and drop our pens off. So
Yeah, it's really in the
yeah.
city center, so that's it's a wonderful location. And Fred really helped me starting up the business over there. And now he's not fully retired, but he only comes in the store like once a week, just more for fun
Oh,
than
that's nice.
actually. Yeah,
That's great. There's still that connection though too, and you know,
yeah.
so that's good. Actually, one of my subscribers, Scott Lasky, asked me to ask you about like why Boston, like why did you choose that? So it was actually at Brian Holzer's urging. So
No, no, it was Ryan. So you
oh
have
Brian,
Brian and Ryan at Kenro, but this
oh
was
sorry, I
Ryan.
misheard you. So Ryan, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
there were some other stores that might have been interesting options. So there are some other stores on the West Coast as well. But for me, from the Netherlands, an 8-hour flight is already a long time,
Yes,
and the East Coast was the best way for me to do it. So that was another extra bonus point to
yeah,
look at
perfect.
Boston.
How do you see the two markets? Are there differences, distinct differences between the kind of pens maybe that you're selling out of the Netherlands versus the US and the sort of questions you get and maybe you could speak to that a little.
Yeah, no, there are a lot of differences, of course. Sorry.
That's
In
okay.
general, Dutch people are more introvert. They are more. You have a Dutch saying, and I'm going to translate it now in English, so it might sound funny, but it is like, um, if you act normal, you already act crazy enough. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but Dutch people, they just want to have a black pen, silver trims, maybe gold trims. If they are going to be a little bit crazy, they want to have gold trim.
Sure,
But
sure.
further than that, it's okay. And in the US, people want to have color, a lot of fun. They want to bright up their day a little bit with their
Sure.
pens. And that's the main difference, actually. In the Netherlands, they also prefer to have like heavier pens. So most of the time we sell pens with a brass a base, while in the US it's
Ah,
more
hidden.
acrylic and resin. So it's a
Sure.
different there are different markets.
Yeah, that's interesting because I feel myself sort of getting away from heavier pens. I have
Hmm.
a couple that are just, like I have a Cartier Diabolo. The thing is like 2 pounds, and it's the same
Yeah,
thing,
that's
brass
crazy,
base
right?
with Chinese lacquer on top. And
Yeah, you don't have to go to the gym anymore because you
no,
just do
no. No, and I
just
really do
right.
feel like it makes a difference. I mean, if you're sitting down the journal, I'm very much into journaling. A lot of my channel uh, centers
Mhm.
around journaling and even using it as a tool for better mental health and better
Mhm.
personal growth too, setting goals and holding yourself accountable. to what you wrote down a few months back and making sure you're following through. That sort of thing. So, and it's also a great outlet because there's no one to censor you while you write. So it's
I
brilliant.
know. No,
Yeah,
it's a great way to make your mind free of any thoughts. Just write them down and set goals for the future.
truly. So how do you use your pens personally?
Well, I have a store full of pens, so I don't have this whole collection at my house myself. I have a
Right.
few personal pens, of course, but I don't use them that often. When I'm in the store, I use my 149 for note takings. If there's something, I can make a note on the orders, things like that. But
Sure.
I don't have a journal or things like that.
Sure.
I have two kids at home, and when
Huh?
I grab some paper to start do something for myself, they immediately, I don't know, they smell it or they see it, immediately they come to me, and that me time is over.
Right.
So
No, I
I
know.
don't have that much time for myself.
Well, you met my daughter actually. So yeah, I'm in this
Yeah.
boat. How old are your kids?
2 and 4 actually,
Uh,
or the youngest one is getting to next week, so
oh,
April 8th.
okay. Yeah, they're coming
Yes.
along. So yeah, it gets
Yeah.
when they're like my daughter is it's just constant interaction. She's very engaged, asks a lot of questions. It's super fun. She's just lovely.
Yeah, it's great. I love the age, and I love how they are, but they just need a lot of attention, and that's, yeah,
Sure. Yeah,
it
absolutely.
is what it is.
A question came up recently, and I'd be curious to get your take on this. And it's sort of the concept of where do you draw the line for luxury? Because I know you carry quite a few on the luxury end of pens, and your
Hmm.
company's known for service. So, like Mont Blanc, pretty much the whole range is considered a luxury pen. Visconti, I
Hmm.
know, but where do you think? Do you think it's a price, or do you think it's an attitude, or do you think it's certain features? Like, where would you put that?
It's a really interesting question, and I think mainly it's a certain feeling that you have with a product.
Hmm.
So, for example, you have Faber-Castell, the Emotion fountain pen, which is 150 euros, something like that.
Yeah,
But what 150 euros more or less, or dollars.
sure.
Um, and for me, I do not consider that as a really luxury fountain pen. But when I'm looking at the Esterbrook pens, I'm looking at them right now, so
Yeah,
that's why
nice,
I'm looking that way.
beautiful pen to look at.
Um,
So, sure.
yeah, it's more or less a similar price point,
Mhm.
but it has a more luxury feeling for me. So it's a certain feeling that you have with a pen.
Right.
Um, it's, yeah. Of course, we take more care for the pens that have a higher value.
Hmm.
So we make sure to insurance them correctly if we ship them out, and if we ship Faber-Castell 20 euro or $20 fountain pen, yeah, it's you treat that differently, as you
You
can
do.
imagine.
You do. You certainly do. But
Yeah.
it's just interesting that whole mid range when you get into things like even from a Pelican line is the 400 line, 600, like which one is luxury? Pelican feels very luxe even at, M200.
Yeah, for us is I think all the Pelican pens are luxury for us.
Yeah.
Even the M200 pens.
Yeah.
So that's a pen that you think like, okay, that's a 150 euro or dollar pen,
Yeah.
but it feels more luxury compared to that Faber-Castell Emotion. And that has nothing to do with Faber-Castell, with the Emotion, because it's a wonderful fountain pen. With it, it can have a wooden barrel. But for me, it's just Faber-Castell. It's more like a workhorse writing instrument,
Sure.
and Pelican is more luxury.
Sure. Sure. I could see that. Like an everyday, whereas Pelican's more like you're picking it up to write correspondence or whatnot. And
Yeah, and I what I'm thinking right now is also the entry level of Pelican is of course also higher compared to Faber-Castell.
Mhm.
So Faber-Castell you can pick up for a few bucks, but Pelican starts from around $100. So it's also that different thinking that you have with a writing instrument,
Yes, yes, truly, and certainly
with
the
the
way that
brand.
brands portray themselves too. Because you're right. I mean, Esterbrook is very luxurious. It's very customizable, and I
Hmm.
think that Esterbrook does a fantastic job of offering tools for writers, like whatever style that you're into, or however your hand works when you're forming your letters and your words. Esterbrook has you covered. Even if you want to use
No,
old nibs, the MV converter will handle that. So it's impressive.
you have one of those converters?
I do, and I've never used it. Like
Why not?
because the Yovo nibs are so good. They're so smooth and fun to use that I don't know if I want to go back to, like, I have a bunch of Esterbrook J nibs from the 40s and 50s. I don't know if I
Hmm.
want to go back, but I should do it. I mean, it'd be nice content even here on
Yeah,
YouTube, right? But I just haven't done it yet, and I've had it probably for a year, and I've yet to
it's
use it.
fun to use, right? It's fun to use.
Is it? I haven't done it yet, so you tell me.
Yeah, you should try it. Honestly, I have to admit that. So we sell Esterbrook, of course. We also
Sure.
sell that adapter. And in those years that we sell Esterbrook pens, we sold hundreds of Esterbrook pens. I
Hmm.
think we only sold a handful of adapters. So I don't think there are a lot of people out there that have those vintage Esterbrook nibs, or that they just don't come to us for that
Sure.
adapter. Yeah,
Sure. But I think it's really a testament to them and how they approach
I know.
satisfying people's needs. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, no, it's a great job what they are doing. They really did a great revival on an American brand. I
Yep.
think they only acquired it in 2018, so in a really short time, they created this whole branding around something that didn't exist almost anymore.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, they're doing a great job, and I really love to talk with them about future projects and how we can help each other with move things around. So yeah, no, they're doing a great job.
So yeah, they're also really nice fellows, and they're really passionate about what they do. And if you run into
Yeah.
them at a pen show, really good
No,
stuff.
what I really like about that brand is that so they attend like almost every pen show in the world, from my
Yeah, in the
feeling.
world.
And
They're in
yeah, and
Constantinople. I'm like,
they
geez,
are also coming to the Dutch pen show actually,
no kidding.
June 4th in the Netherlands. Yes. And what gives their disadvantage is that they are in talk with the end consumer. So they are so normally with a brand, we
Mhm.
get a sales agent coming to the store.
Yep.
Hey, Joost, how are you? Things like that. Did you get any feedback of my products of end consumers? And of course, we get feedback, but we don't pass forward everything because that's not
Yeah.
possible.
Right. Exactly.
But if you're on such a show, and let's say you have a problem with your Estabrook, almost impossible, but imagine that you have a problem with your Estabrook, you can go directly to them and say, hey, I've this problem, can you help me solve this? Or I have this amazing idea. Maybe there's something for you to develop and do something
Oh,
with it.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So they have a lot of information that other brands don't have because they have direct contact with the end consumer.
Yeah, that's a really good point. They're right out there mixing it up, talking to people. Yeah,
Yeah.
that helps. I had a question too. Like in the pen community, I think there's a little bit of that generic feeling about Yovo nibs and whatnot. Personally, I think like they're brilliant, and if they work, and somebody's job is to produce a beautiful pen, and then they go to a nib manufacturer who must have all these die cutting machines and everything else, and they've been in business for years, and they produce a great product. Put it on the pen. I have no issue with that personally. In fact, it makes it a bit more serviceable, whereas
Hmm.
other brands are made in house. But this is my question. I don't know if you know this or not, but you would certainly know more than I do about it. Does Yovo ever like produce a nib that's specific to a brand? Like Twisby, for instance. Those nibs, are those any other Yovo nib, or is that a specific Twisby nib made by Yovo? You know what I mean? Like, is that done?
Yes,
Or
I understand what you're saying. So I don't know all the ins and outs, of course, because
sure.
we don't deal with Joel directly.
Right.
Um, but I know for a fact, but I'm not sure if Joe is creating this nib. But I know for a fact that Scribo, Scritura Bolognese. I don't know if you know the brand. Actually, I
I
have
know
a pen
Scribo
here of them.
actually. Yeah,
Yes,
I love their inks. Their Chianti Rosso is one of my favorite inks.
it's great, and their nibs are also amazing because they use the Omas nibs because Oma of sorry, so Scribo is run by the previous staff members of Omas.
Oh,
And
I
what they did, they bought the machinery to create the nibs. What I do know for a fact, they do not make the nibs themselves in house. But as far as I know, they brought the machine that they bought from Omas to a Yowo or a Bok or whatever, I don't know, a company that is specialized in creating nibs because that company knows how to make nibs. So they brought that machinery to that factory, and in that factory, they make the nibs. So that the specialists are involved with the nib making, and then they can concentrate on making the pens.
oh, that makes sense because even if you own the machine, it doesn't mean you have the expertise to produce an Omas nib.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly, yes.
yeah, yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Did
On
you
the
ever try one of those Scribo nibs?
No, I don't see them. I've seen them on videos. I follow a couple of fountain pen accounts that are out of Italy. I speak a
Hmm.
smattering of Italian, so I'm
Oh
trying
wow.
to improve it all the time. So I thought it might be fun to watch some of the Italian content on fountain pens.
Hmm.
And
You should
Scribo
try
is,
it because their nibs are amazing.
well, I just need to get my
Um,
hands on one. It's not that easy. I guess I need to go to your shop. Do you have them there in Boston?
we have them. Yes,
Oh, I have
we
to
have
go
them.
over there. See, I
So
haven't
it's
been over
it's
there. I
so
don't.
easy for you
Yeah,
to get
I
them.
know. I need to get over there. Let me know when you're in town. I'll go over.
I will let you know. I will let you know. No, so the what is so special about those nibs is that they have, for example, triple broad nibs. So Pelican stopped producing the triple broad nibs a few years back, and they jumped in that hole because a lot of people love those triple broad nibs, and they also have this extra fine nib, almost needle points.
Oh, wow.
So they have a lot of things. They have flex nibs, they have regular nibs, they have this whole nib range, and that's why Scribble is amazing. Besides, of
Really?
course, the materials they use.
Well, the nib is everything. It's like the tires of a car. So you
Yeah.
seem to like the wider nibs. That's the sense I'm
Yes,
getting.
correct. Yes.
So obliques and triple broads, stubs ever?
Yes, that's no problem. As long as it has a lot of ink, as long as it put a lot of ink on my paper.
Oh, there you go. So you like a really nice, generous feed too.
Yes, yes, it's really important. And luckily, we have our in-house nib specialist, Annabelle Hiller, of
Yeah.
course, who
Yes.
can help me
Or on
with
your
my
show.
nibs. Yes, because what sometimes is a problem if you have a generous nib like a triple broad or a oblique triple broad or things like that. The feet have to hold up with all that ink flow. So that's
Flex
not
nib
always the
too.
case.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So that's not always the case. So I'm really happy with to have Annabelle this close to me
Oh, yeah.
to help me sometimes. Yes.
Yeah, that must be great. So you can just pass them over and be like, "Hey, I need a little more ink here. Can you help me out?"
Yeah.
That's a fantastic resource.
No, it's great, and honestly, I don't understand why not more pen stores have nib specialists like this in house, because I will not share the numbers here, but she tells me sometimes of certain brands how many nibs come in defective, and that she has to
Wow.
fix it before shipping out. Those numbers are crazy, and those are numbers from really big brands. And I'm not going to tell which brands they are because I don't think that's fair.
Right.
But I'm always considering, like, okay, how do people do that when they buy from somebody else that do not check the nibs? They just accept that the nib doesn't write or has a baby's bottom or things like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think what probably happens in some instances is it's someone's first fountain pen. They spend a lot of money.
Yeah,
they get it, and then they're like, "What's the appeal of these things? I can't get this thing to work," and they probably give up. Or
Yeah, maybe,
or
but it's sad.
some cases, or else it goes on a message board. And one of the things, this is actually a great transition for something else I wanted to ask you. So and I'm talking about perception, because I know, like I'm unaffiliated. I don't have a pen shop. So I can say
Hmm.
anything about anything. And that's just me. You have a pen shop. So I'm sure, you obviously you want to treat your suppliers with respect. And I also think a certain level of
Hmm.
errors and whatnot is acceptable, because these companies, many of them, produce vast amounts of pens. But if you're spending a certain amount of money, or even any amount of money, your pen should be perfect, and if there is an issue, they should stand by it. Okay, that's the
Hmm.
background. So the perception out there with Visconti in particular is that
Hmm.
if you buy a Homo sapien, something like a Bronze Age, which I just got one for Christmas, if you
Hmm.
purchase that
Congratulations.
pen, thank you. Yeah, it's wacky, as wacky as any pen. I love mad pens, and it is as mad as
Hmm. Yeah, it's great.
right. So if you purchase that pen, it's about 50-50 chance of you having a horrible nib. And I
If you
don't.
don't buy it with us, that might be the case. Yes.
Is that your is that really your impression? Because what I wonder is, if someone like has a really strong voice in the pen community, they had a bad experience, sometimes these ideas get recycled. But what is the truth
Hmm.
of the matter? Is, like, I know you check the nibs before they leave. Some other pen shops,
Yeah,
they check the nibs. Is it really an issue, or is it just perception?
it was an issue in the past with the palladium nibs, but
Yes.
luckily they don't make those anymore. So wait, I will tell it correctly. So the palladium nibs, they were great when they are working,
Hmm.
but most of the time they had issues, and we had Annabelle to fix that.
Gotcha.
So all the pens that came from us, of Visconti, they were perfect. But they now have that 18 karat gold nib,
Hmm.
and it's improved. It has improved. Of course, the the good thing about Annabelle is that she can fix those things, but the bad thing about Annabelle is that she's really precise, and if uh, she cannot work on 100%, because if she works on 100%, no nib will pass her table, because then
Uh,
every nib will be like, no, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. So we have to go back a little bit to like 80%. If Annabelle thinks for 80% it's a good nib, it can't pass the table, because otherwise, no pen will leave the store here anymore.
that's
We don't
great.
want
She's
that.
an artist,
Yeah,
a perfectionist.
yeah,
What's wrong with that?
yeah. She's really a perfectionist. So, but Annabelle is doing a great job here, and she really helps the store with this service.
Right. Oh, well, that's good. That's good to hear. And I think the value, I'm going to give you a little commercial here. The value of going to a shop like yours, your reputation's on the line. You want it to be a
Hmm.
great experience for anyone who you're shipping a pen to or buying one in the store, and you're not going to let something leave if it has a misaligned nib or whatnot. So,
Yeah, no, it's important.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because like Visconti is such an interesting brand, and I almost feel sorry for it. But I guess if it had that QC issue, it's good that they cleaned it up. Um, they are such
So
interest.
we visited the factory actually
Yes,
in
actually,
Florence.
Amy Alphabet in the comments brought that up, and she wanted to know what your favorite part of the tour was. So maybe you can kind of give us a quick overview
Yeah.
of what it was like
The
visiting
favorite part was, of course, the food.
the
But
food in
besides that,
Florence. Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy.
yeah.
It's crazy. I can tell something in general about our visits to the different factories, because we have this whole how it's made series. It's really fun to see the differences in how you are allowed to come in certain parts of a factory, but also how some certain brands, they welcome you. So, for example, the Italian brands, it's not even a question. you have to come with them to have lunch and dinner, and it's this whole thing around it. While other factories are more like, okay, you come on this time, you can visit this part of the factory, not more, and after this you have to go away because then I have other appointments. That's also fine because then I know
Yeah, it's
what
more
I can
business
expect.
oriented.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's more business. But the Italians, it's like, they have a lot of time for you. It's it's
that's
uh it's
wonderful.
really fun, and they really welcome you, and you really feel that Italian vibe. And eating pasta and pizza and things like that.
Yes.
It's
Yeah, it's a
it's
good
great.
food town, Florence, for certain culture and food. And a lot
Yeah,
of
I know.
really great brands are out of Florence, from
Yes,
Visconti, Panerai, Ferragamo.
yes,
Yeah, you can get in a lot of
yes.
trouble if you go shopping in that town.
It's really dangerous to go there. You have, of course, also P. Nider with the
That's
former
right.
CEO of Visconti,
Yes,
Dante Del Vecchio.
that's
Yes.
another slightly mad pen company. That quill nib is one of the most interesting writing experiences of any nib. I can't get much
Hmm.
line variation out of it, but I almost don't mind because the softness and how you're painting letters with that is such a great experience.
It's amazing, and know that it's not officially a flex nib, so it's called a semi flex nib.
Right,
So
exactly.
that,
But it
yeah.
is as flexible as like a vintage Waterman 5. It's more about the
Hmm.
feeling of writing with it. It would be a great pen to lend to someone who never wrote with a fountain pen before because they couldn't damage it. you know?
Oh, that's true. It's true. No, it's a really good pad to start with. Actually, it might be fun to have Dante on the show with you, because if you talk with Dante, it's like
That would be awesome.
you it's a really easy show for you as well, because you just ask him one question and he starts talking, and
That'd be
you
brilliant.
know
Try
you
to
look
have
at your
fun.
watch, and there's 1 hour gone.
Yeah, we're doing a pretty good job ourselves here. I mean, time is flying by, and
Yeah.
and if anybody's just joining us, we're here with Joost Appelboom, and please follow his YouTube channel. And he has a podcast also on YouTube, at Spotify, and on Apple. So make sure you follow him wherever he is. He's also on Instagram, which is seems like
Yeah.
Instagram's where all the business happens, huh? Have you noticed that? It's like you on YouTube you see people, but on Instagram you talk to them.
Yeah, we also talk on YouTube with
You
people, of
do?
course, because every comment gets like something back. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
we have
I
this
don't mean the
whole
comments. I
conversation all
mean
the time.
like us, like in how I was able to coordinate this. That seems to always happen
Oh yes,
sort of off platform for whatever reason. So, um,
yes.
yeah,
It's an easy way to connect with people through Instagram direct messages. That works.
indeed. So David Pruitt was asking if you have an Annabelle in your Boston store.
Not at the moment. So what is happening right now? If you have some nip work to be done, and for example, you live in Massachusetts and you want to bring it to the pen store in Boston, you can drop it off there, and we have regular shipments coming in from Boston through the Netherlands, and also the other way around, of course.
Okay, sure.
So then we will just take care of the shipping, and you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Has it
Yes.
added to the complexity a little dealing in two different currencies?
No, not really, actually, because we already did that.
Oh, good.
So it did gave some problems with pricing strategies. For example, with Montblanc, they're
Sure.
really strict on their pricing strategy, and we had to move a lot of things to make that work. But eventually, I think we're the only Montblanc dealer in the world that are active on two different continents. So it was
Oh,
also a challenge for them.
sure. Yeah, they never go on sale. Those pens. I've never seen them on.
No, 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 never, never.
One of my favorites is the Mont Blanc Egyptomania.
Hmm.
The not the silver one, but the black resin one. I love that pen. It's another nib that's slightly mad. It's got the scarab on it, and it is so soft and flexy, and so much fun to write with.
Hmm.
I just can't get enough of that pen.
it's a beautiful pen, and the shape is also quite interesting with, I think, octagonal shape, if
Yeah,
I'm
I'm not
correct.
sure if it's. I think it might be six side. Maybe it is eight side. I always forget,
Yeah,
but it is faceted. Sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
yeah. There we go. Let's go with that.
Yeah,
So yeah, won't roll away, which is nice because you cannot post it unless you duct tape it.
yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't
No, but
recommend.
the Douai version with the silver is also quite interesting. I don't know the English word for it. Sorry. With the signs on the barrel.
Oh, the hieroglyphics.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for.
Yes. Yeah, the other one only has one. I guess it says like White Peak or something for Mont Blanc on the
Of
can,
course.
which is super fun. It's a fun
Nobody knows because it is so long ago. Nobody knows if that's actually
yeah,
what
you
they
have to go to
meant.
Rosetta Stone and check it against the Greek.
Yeah.
But pretty interesting pen. I mean, for me, I think as I go along, I'm starting to get into the more interesting, strange pens now, rather than how my fleet of pens originally was very black and gold,
hmm
right? Like what you were saying earlier
Yeah,
with
but it's an whole adventure that you go through. You know, we had Sash Minyas on the show a few
Mhm.
weeks back, and he had this great tip for everybody collecting. He said, only buy what you really want because there are so many pens out there. Just buy what you really want. Like, okay, it's not like, okay, I only like the nib of this pen. Let's buy this pen because I like the nib. No, only buy it when you like the entire pen, the nib, everything on it. That's the moment that you have to buy it, and not just the nib or just the color or things like that.
it is true. I think a lot of people are pushing the idea that there's almost this ladder of pens too, that you progress. Your first pen,
hmm
a Pilot Kakuno, and then you upgrade, you go to a Twisby, and then maybe you're up at a Pelican, then you're a Pilot Custom 823, then you're at a Mont Blanc, and you just sort of like this ladder to more and more excess. And I personally think there's a balance there. I think it's fine to buy pens and you buy what you want and you buy what makes you passionate. I try to restrain myself when it's just a color. It's like I
hmm
have Lamy Safaris. What were they? What are the new colors? One of them's like pink or something. They're really pretty
Yeah,
pastel.
there are three new colors. I'm
Yes,
not sure. I don't think it came in today. It might come in on Monday, but it's on its way. But there are indeed three new colors. It's always fun. That's something I can imagine that people collect that because it's not that expensive and all those colors. It's fun to have them all in line in a tray somewhere in your house, and you have this whole collection of one of the most iconic designs of fountain pens.
truly. And they make some interesting nibs too. I mean, I have their 1.1 stub and I have
hmm
cursive nib of theirs. Both really interesting, really smooth, well done nibs for something that
hmm
really the design looks like it was stamped out in metal and it's designed to slide on really easily. And it's amazing how good it is.
Yes, it is. The good thing about those laminates is also that they're quite cheap to buy them separately. So in case you drop your fountain pen, I don't know why you would do that, but
Sure.
it happens sometimes.
Does happen.
It's quite easy to replace. So that's a good thing.
That's a very good thing. What's your feelings on shimmer and sheen inks? And especially in if you were to go that route, are there certain pens you wouldn't recommend not putting them in?
Well, the shimmering inks, I don't use them personally,
Mhm.
but the shimmering inks are always a little bit tricky because there are components in it that are, that can clog your pen. So if somebody's asking me about it, I always recommend them to, first of all, don't use it in an expensive pen.
Mhm.
Secondly, clean it regularly. And the third thing that I always mention is don't don't let the ink too much too for sorry, don't let the ink in the pen for too long of a time without using it.
Sure.
So those
Yeah,
are the
don't
three
let it
things that I
sit.
always mention. Yeah,
You find yourself
but
sometimes
I can imagine that people really love those things.
they're a lot of fun. A lot of ink comes in here. A lot of companies send them,
Hmm.
and they're fun. It wouldn't be something I use. I work at a bank full time. That's my other.
Yeah.
That's the other side of me. Wouldn't be. I
It,
wouldn't be
it, it
signing.
would be fun if you sign things, with the purple ink with silver glitters in it. That's
Exactly.
nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
they certainly know it was my signature at that point.
yeah, that's true.
But like similarly to you, I always say if you can't field strip the pen, you don't want to put that kind of ink into it.
Yeah.
I would never put something like that in a Mont Blanc. And some of the sheening inks too stain in a really peculiar way.
Hmm.
They get very
Oh, you
iridescent.
have to be careful. You have to be careful with what ink are you using in which fountain pen.
Indeed. When I first bought, well, my 149 was a gift from my wife.
Hmm.
And I was so careful with that. I only put in Mont Blanc Royal Blue in it for maybe like the first 10 years I had it.
Hmm.
And then I went nuts and I put Yamabudo in there, as one does. So, so I know you're using the green now.
Sorry, one moment. Yes. Yes, Irish green, because our color of the store is green, of course. And at that time, Mont Blanc only had one green, and I was like, okay, my Mont Blanc pen, I want to have the Mont Blanc ink, so let's go for the Irish green. And from that moment on, I signed everything. Also, to customers in the beginning, we always wrote a small note, and I signed it always with the Irish green ink. So from that moment on, Irish green was my color of choice, and
I call that a signature
I'm
color. I did a whole video
yes,
on that. It's like, what is your signature color? It's if somebody sees that, they know it's you.
yeah, no, it really is. But in the store, we actually always use Pelican 4001
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a
ink because
yeah.
it's a really safe ink. If people are testing it,
Hmm.
it never is a problem. You can clean it easily. So we always use that in the store. And I know for a fact that Annabelle, when she is working on a nib, she always used the Diamine Majestic Blue.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's her color of choice too. So sometimes when people get their pen in after a pen check, they always ask me like, "Hey, but the pen is not cleaned well." That's correct. We do that kind of on purpose. She more or less cleans it a little bit, but also to show the people like, "Hey, your pen is actually checked," because
Yeah, you're like Lamy.
there's the
Because Lamy,
yeah, more or less.
yeah,
Yes,
Lamy
yes,
does that sometimes.
yes,
A little bit
yes.
of blue ink, like, hey, my pen is used. No, no, it was tested. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it sometimes we got these comments from customers, and I actually tell them like, you can be really happy because this is like an extra service, and we just want to make sure that the pen. So, for example, if we ship to that little island, we will make sure that that pen writes,
Oh,
because even if the customer didn't ask for it, we want to make sure that it writes, because having that pen shipped back and forward, it costs so much money. We have to make sure that it
mhm.
writes.
Which pen went to Guadeloupe?
Good question. I can check it.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
It's a Pilot Custom 8 to A23.
Oh, wow,
So
that's a good one.
there's not a lot of checking with that one, because
Yeah.
the Pilot nibs are actually almost good enough for Annabelle. So, but
That
we
pen
will
is
check it
almost
anyway.
perfect. My
Yes.
only criticism of that pen, and it's because I'm always afraid I'm going to drop it, is that the cap doesn't have a bit of metal around the rim of the cap. Kind of wish
Hmm.
they could move that metal down just to protect it. But in the fill system and the elegance of it, because you compare that to something like the TWSBI VAC 700, which is another great pen, especially for the price. But the way
Hmm.
it flares, it doesn't sit in the hand as cleanly and balanced as the 823 does.
It
So,
is.
yeah,
It's a great pen. The only downside of it is that Pilot has this strange policy. So you have Pilot Japan, Pilot Europe, and Pilot Northern America, I think, or maybe only Pilot USA. I don't know.
okay.
But Sometimes you have colors available in Europe which are not available in the US, or you have colors available in the US which are not available in Europe
Wow.
or only in Japan. And it's really frustrating because we always get those questions like, hey, can you get this A23 for me with this clear barrel, only with the black piston knob and the black finishing? And I'm like, yeah, we have two distributors where we work with, the US and Europe, but they don't have it. So I'm sorry, we cannot help you. You have to go to Japan.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
really,
it
that's
is.
right. It does
It
come in
is that
different colors.
sometimes.
Because in U.S. market, I think it's just black and amber. I think those are the two.
Yes, it's the same in Europe actually, but I think in Japan you also have this clear version. I'm not sure, but I think so. But for example, the Custom 74 is only available in Europe in three colors or so.
Oh,
But the forest green and the grenadina, things like that, they are not available in Europe. So we have to import them from the United States to the Netherlands
oh
or through
wow.
Europe.
Well,
Yeah, it's
so
a little bit cheating, but it's okay. Nobody's
yeah,
watching us
sure.
anyway, right?
Right. Yeah. No one's watching this. Only
it's,
8,000 people. No worries.
it's just me and you.
Just me and you. Exactly. And I won't tell. And Amy Alphabet that's asking if you could collaborate with a pen company, which brand would you choose to partner with?
We actually do some collaborations, but we do it more under the name of the Dutch Pen Show. So
Oh,
we are one of the hosts of the Dutch Pen Show in the Netherlands, in Utrecht. This year it's June 4th. So if anybody's watching, make sure
okay.
to go there because we will have a lot of great vendors.
I'll go one.
And sorry,
I said 1 year I'll go. I can't this year,
this
but
year.
I was
Why
tempted to
not?
go this year. Well, because my wife has a big event that she does for her work that's right then. But it wouldn't
But
take my
that's your wife. That's
sorry.
not you.
Yeah,
That's your
we
wife.
don't
That's not
separate.
you.
I know it's funny. Like
Ah, okay.
if I can't bring my kid and my wife with me when I do business and travel, I don't go. That's me.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fair. Fair enough. Fair enough. But to come back to the question,
sure.
we collaborated with Leonardo for some pens, and this year we will bring out a Kaweco in a
Ooh, very
special
nice.
color. Yes, and
A
it
sport or
came in
something,
last week.
or can't you say?
I'm not telling. I'm not telling
Come
more
on, give me an
about it. Just
exclusive. I had you on.
just yeah, so Caveco for the Dutch Pen Show. I will not
Lovely.
tell anything else about it.
That's exciting.
Um, yes, it's really cool. And the Leonardo pen that we will produce for this year will also be met with Jonathan Brooks material again. So that's really
Oh,
fun
very
to
nice.
work with always. And yeah, we had some great collaborations with Leonardo. I think they're doing a great job at this moment with all those colors and things. And their products are amazing. So yes, I'm really happy to collaborate with them. It's quite a funny question actually because we have requests I think weekly from brands like, hey, you sell us now for some time.
Hmm.
Isn't it time to make this special edition, the store exclusive? But I always tell them the same thing. I don't like to do store exclusives. I think it's really selfish.
Really?
Um, yeah, because for I don't think it's fair to my colleagues. So with the Dutch Pen Show, it's a group of hosts. So all the pen stores in the Netherlands and some of Belgium are involved. So if we bring a pen out with the Dutch Pen store, with the Dutch Pen Show, we can sell them all. So it's not
Sure.
like you can buy it with me, but you cannot buy it with my neighbor in Amsterdam or The Hague or whatever.
Sure.
No, you can buy it with everybody. And if you make store exclusive, it's like, yeah, we have this pen, we have this color, but you cannot have it. And I don't think that's fair.
That is the
So
point. That's the point of a
yes,
exclusive. It's meant to drive sales.
yes, but
That's
yeah, but I don't
tremendously
think it's
generous
fair.
of you.
So
It,
I
it
I
really
keep
is.
I keep my hands off the store
No, I
exclusives. I'm
think
really
that's
sorry.
actually really lovely, and I think it speaks a lot to you and how you view the pen community as a true community. I mean, that's fantastic.
it's a small world, and you really need each other. So, for example, in the Netherlands, there's only 4 pen stores right now. So you really need each other. If I don't have a pen in stock, I can call my colleagues like, "Hey, do you
Sure.
maybe have it for my customer?" And we can help each other out. But if you're going to really compete with each other, like, yeah, no, that doesn't work. You
Uh,
need each other.
Even here in Boston, you're one of the only games in town. There's a Mont Blanc boutique. I don't know what they keep
Hmm.
at in the Peru. And then there's a couple stationery stores that have some pens, but they're not specialists, and they probably don't understand their own stock as much. I mean, I guess that sounded terrible, but I have visited these places, and you ask questions, and yeah. But
It's always fun. But I think in the US in general, how many real pen stores are left there?
yeah,
That's also not that many. And I think I don't know if they do that already because I'm not in the pen community in the US for that long.
sure.
But I see a lot of different islands in the US. Like, the stores are really taking care of themselves instead of working together and doing things like that. It comes more from the distributors. If there's like a Northern American limited or special edition, it is something that the distributor has planned, but not from the pen stores. And that's something that we do differently in the Netherlands. It's really the stores that come up with ideas and say like, "Hey guys, let's go, let's make this pen together," and not really the distributors.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. I think I'd be tempted to have my own color. There'd be like Hemingway Jones blue that I would get.
Blue?
I use a lot of blue.
What kind of blue?
It would probably be in the sapphire range. I like really
Yeah,
saturated blues, yes. And that's
a
a
little
Ballard
dark,
thing. Sorry?
a little bit darker.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But saturated, And the thing was back 10, 15 years ago, signing loan documents, it was always done in blue to make sure it was an original copy. That's all fallen
Hmm.
away. There's DocuSign, everything else, but I think the color just stuck with me. That and the anything that looks like wine or sort of bloody, like ox blood, anything visceral or winey, I like. So
That's good.
yeah,
That's
those
good.
are my
And
colors.
what kind of pen?
That I'm usually signing. That if I'm going to a loan closing, I'm usually bringing my 149 with
No,
me.
no, I mean, so you want to have this particular color for yourself, but on
Oh,
which
if I were
pen?
going to design a pen, well, I'd be interested. I mean, it'd be great if Mont Blanc wanted to make one for me, but I doubt they would.
Of course.
But
A 149 in blue. That would be great.
that would be brilliant. I mean, the burgundies are nice. They come around every five
Yeah.
years or so. That would
Yeah.
that would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mont Blanc, if you're watching this right now, just give us a call and we will make this happen.
I'm sure they are. They hang on my every word. Those guys. A lot of fun though. The YouTube experience is fun. I mean, it's great to speak to different people, and I think everyone has their own take
Hmm.
on
No,
pen.
it's really fun to talk with people. We do that on our podcast. So we have this 3-person show. So I'm the host. We have a co-host, and we have a guest. And it's always fun to rotate the co-host every 5 episodes. So you have sort of like a basic every time, and a guest changing all the time. It gives different vibes and different subjects to talk about. So it's really fun.
Yeah, I've watched your podcast. It's really good. I saw some with Steven, and I see you have Annabelle on now. And I'm kind
Yes.
of amazed
Yes.
that you can get a new guest each week. I have guests more infrequent
Hmm.
because I'm also the producer, so I also have to court the guests, and I'm
Yeah.
also a smaller channel than you. So
Well, the thing is, at the beginning, it was quite challenging to find guests, but over time, when you do some episodes, it's people come to you.
oh,
So
nice.
it's the other way around. Brands come to me like, "Hey, we see that you have this podcast. It gives some attention. It would be great if you can promote this product through your podcast." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem, but you have to come as a guest on the show because otherwise I'm not doing this."
Yeah, talk
So it's
firsthand. Exactly.
yeah, it works like that. So No, it's really fun to do.
Yeah, you guys do a really nice job because, as I said, I love how you're able to add the B-roll. You're able to put a little bit more shine on it. This, I kind of
Thank
like
you.
this form for the interviews because it's kind of fun. You know, you and I feel like we're more comfortable now. Maybe in the beginning you get a little awkward, and it's good for people to see that. I think it's nice to have a little energy and a little dynamic nature to a conversation.
What I really like about this concept is that you really have the input of the people that are watching this.
Yes,
So that's,
that's
of
fun.
course, completely different with our podcast because it's recorded already. So if somebody has a question, we can respond on it
Yep, scroll right up.
in the comment section. But it still is different than you can respond on it right away.
Exactly. The only thing that's tough about that is I'm reading comments while I'm speaking to you, and I kind of wish I had another co-host that could help with the comment.
Uh,
No, I need a
Well,
producer.
you just told me that your wife is always around, so maybe you can give her a job
There
and
you
she
go.
can read all the comments all the time.
Yep, indeed, indeed. So very good stuff. Well, hard to believe, but we're actually over an hour, and I don't want to keep you.
Oh wow,
And it's been absolutely
no problem.
wonderful. I hope we have an opportunity to do this again because it's
Yeah,
absolutely.
sure, no problem. It's always fun. I love to talk to you. So it's you're a great host. So
Thank you. I appreciate
I
that.
really feel comfortable. So that's good.
Good. Well, it's been a complete joy having you. I know the people watching, I've been keeping an eye on the comments. They're saying great things. They love hearing all about everything that you have going on and how you
Thank you.
present all the information. Really valuable stuff. So thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. I really appreciate it. And it's great to get to know you a little
Yeah.
better. I met you in passing and always wanted to have you
Yeah.
speak a little more.
Next time I'm in Boston, I will let you know, and we might meet up.
That would be brilliant. Please do. Fantastic. All right.
I
So
will do that.
everyone, Joost Appelboom. Fantastic seeing you.
Thank you.
Okay.
It was great to be on your show.
You bet. Take care. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. He's such a wonderful guy, so knowledgeable, so much going on. Great to hear about all the different pens and from a different perspective. So, hopefully, we'll do a show again. Maybe we'll be able to film in person one day. Probably should have brought that up. So, if you've watched this long, consider subscribing to my channel and please subscribe to his. It's a fantastic channel, a lot of interesting information over there. So, okay, everyone, thank you all so much. Got a new live show coming Tuesday night at 8 Eastern Time. So, I think you'll enjoy it. I'll give you a preview. It's on epic fails. So, I'm going to tell all the stories of all the knuckleheaded things that I've done, the pens I've broken, and everything else that sort of was a huge issue for me. So, that's Tuesday night at 8. And then next Friday is a video on my library. I'm going to do a little tour of this room. So I think you'll enjoy that. And on April 11th, Tuesday night, our next interview is with the amazing, the dynamic Adventure Denali. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And that's Tuesday night, April 11th at 8 p.m. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate all the likes. I appreciate all the attention, all the great questions for Joost. And I appreciate you all watching today. So thank you. We'll see each other again very soon, further down the road. So take care.